Hey y'all, hi. Been off for a couple of days at work. We kind of like waiting for some materials to be done, so we have to wait for demolition before we can do our thing. So it's been nice to have a couple of days off just to relax a little bit. So what have I been doing? Yeah, I'm stoned again. Fuck. So what have I been doing with my time off? I um, I tend to think about stupid things. So one of the things that came into my mind was building like full body armor. Originally, this was supposed to be a cosplay costume, so the idea was to build like an exoskeleton. I don't know if you guys have ever seen like Transformers. I live right literally next to Universal, so there's performers that they have these stilts and they have these robotic things, and it's all powered by human beings. And basically, it's a transformer, big, huge ass robot, and it's all powered by people. It uses springs and stuff. So I thought about like, could that be taken to this next level? Like maybe if you used better stilts and better springs and better, that you could use something that's human powered that doesn't use electronic actuators, but rather kind of like a steady cam, like they've got these big ass cameras for video production, and they put these things, these harnesses, and then these harnesses have these arms that actually hold the thing in place. Um, so, like using that kind of technology to actuate the arms and the legs and everything. So the idea would not be just for the exoskeleton to be able to lift its own weight, but for it to actually carry armor, weapons, whatever the hell you want to throw on that shit. So I've always been a big fan of like mechas and stuff like that. I mean, who the hell doesn't think a giant robot is cool? Um, and I thought about like practical applications for that technology. Like we're not at the point where we can make robots, big ass robots that can go up against tanks and stuff like that. But I think we are in the point of technology where we can make human-sized mecha. Um, so, because I'm bored, I want to make a human-sized mecha. The difference I define between a mecha and an exoskeleton is an exoskeleton would just be the metallic part that goes around you. Once you place armor on that and you cover it, then I consider that a mecha, because now you're talking about something that's like, more geared towards battle. So again, this originally started out as a cosplay idea, and for some reason, I started looking at how hard would it be to really build something like this. So I broke it down into phases. Obviously, if you've got a lot of heavy armor and exoskeleton stuff, you need a way to be able to cool yourself down. So I'm building a cooling suit that will run underneath this, and it will have fans and stuff that will cool me down or warm me up depending on the temperature and stuff. And I already have some of the materials to build that, and I've started like with a prototype, and it looks pretty good, promising. But I wanted to build something like soft armor to go underneath the hard plate armor, and I've given that a lot of thought and ideas. So just to show you what I've got so far, it's kind of crazy. Bear with me here. So this is a gauntlet. This would go on your arm. This goes on your arm. So I had made a couple of other videos. For some reason they didn't upload. But basically what this is foam, the kind of foam that they use for playgrounds and gyms and stuff that interlocks. And I put steel grating that I got at Lowe's. One of the problems that I've thought about with soft armor, and anybody that you see any videos online, it's not what you think. It's kind of like an airbag. You see it come out slow and stuff, and cushion. No, it fucking hits you in the face. Like, you know, it's supposed to be extremely painful. And the same thing with soft armor, Kevlar rated armor. When you get hit with a bullet, it doesn't kill you. but it bruises, it leaves markings, it breaks ribs and sometimes bones and stuff. So the point was, even if I made soft armor, I need some kind of frame, so that's steel wrapped around that foam. And then what this is ballistic Kevlar. This is so cool. I've never seen it before. But this is what ballistic Kevlar looks like. It's very, very thin weave. Very thin. Thinner than what I thought. I was assuming it would look like carbon fiber, like a thicker weave or fiberglass or something. But no, it looks like silk. It's extremely thin. And believe it or not, about 12, 16 layers of that will stop a bullet. So, but it is extremely thin, as you can see. And I found out later on that this actual Kevlar has some kind of plastic coating on here. So if you take some Scotch tape, you tape it to one of the edges, it'll pull right off. And the idea for that is to give a better adhesion. Some people, what they do is they take Kevlar and they use a hard resin. The problem with that is once you've done that, you kind of taken away what Kevlar is for. It has a high tensile strength. It's not that strength for shattering. Like if you look at fiberglass made things and Kevlar made things, the fiberglass stuff actually is stronger. So by resonating Kevlar, it's not a good thing. It's going to crack. You want it to pull. So it needs to be a flexible material. I had even considered flexible fiberglass, resonating it in that, kind of to create like a type of leather. And the idea would be that the Kevlar would be mechanically attached to every layer underneath it. So as it pulls, it's pulling all of them together. So it's acting as one piece, but it's not resonated to be hard, because at that point it's like it's just cracking through the Kevlar. So you kind of like defeated the purpose of the Kevlar by making it resonated. So I covered this Kevlar with something called 5200 marine adhesive. This shit is absolutely indestructible, the marine adhesive. And it's flexible, as you can see. But the idea would be to create, let's say, 15 layers of this. Now, I did cover this with 5200. It went on really well because the stainless steel grating kind of took it in like when you apply stucco. So it filled in really well. I put in already, this is the second layer of Kevlar. But now what I'm considering is getting some baking pans, some Teflon baking pans, and just taking a mold of the gauntlet and then putting all the Kevlar together, let's say 15 thick, compressing it between two pans, and just put some clamps on there, let it compress, and let it really get a nice bond. And what I'm assuming is going to come out is a type of Kevlar leather, if you will. So you'll have flexible fiber, flexible Kevlar mechanically attached to each other, and at the same time still flexible. So that's the idea. So 15 layers of that, and then one of the things I've seen on YouTube is a lot of people using ceramic tiles. Ceramic tiles are used in ballistics, ballistic vests and stuff, but the problem is with ceramic tiles, it's not the shit that they sell in the stores. It's carbide, silicon carbide, or some other material and stuff. You can't buy it online. It's ridiculous expensive. So I've seen a lot of people do tests on YouTube for the ballistic abilities of just regular ceramic plates. They work. Now the problem that these idiots are doing is they'll take the ceramic plate, wrap it in duct tape or denim or some other material and shoot it. That's not how these ballistic plates work in ballistic armor. You have Kevlar. So I personally think that the ballistic plates do exactly what they're supposed to do. Those videos that they have of tiles, even the mosaic tiles, like this is one that I purchased. I got it on eBay, and basically what it is ceramic on the back and stainless steel in the front. So the idea would be to place these things. I mean, here's the actually this looks pretty cool. So this is what it actually looks like when you buy it. So basically something like that. You'd have the gauntlet with 15 layers of this leatherized Kevlar. Then I'd 5200 those plates on. Now the question is, which direction would be better? Now I'm assuming that this would be better because you crack the ceramic. Now bear in mind that this is all going to be covered with 5200 marine adhesive. So a bullet would travel through the adhesive, well, through the first layer, because there'd be another 15 layers of Kevlar, rubberized Kevlar on top of this. And to make sure that it doesn't move around or do anything stupid, I plan to also put this. So in other words, you'd have 15 layers of leatherized Kevlar, the mosaic plates with the stainless steel part facing downward, 5200 into place and covered in 5200. Then a layer of another 15 layers of Kevlar, then this wrapped around everything, and then covered with 5200 to keep it in place as well. This is titanium. This is actual titanium. Oddly enough, buying it in this form is a lot cheaper than buying it in a plate form. And for the soft armor, I think it's fantastic. I think it's super flexible. It's not as hard to cut as people would say. I used aviation shears to cut this and went through it like a hot knife through butter. So again, I'm thinking between 1 to 2 of these plates, which again are much cheaper than buying plate armor, on top of the stainless steel, and then everything attached with 5200, and should should work. Should stop a bullet. Again, I think the mosaic tiles, these things do work, but you've got to put Kevlar in front and in the back. Because all you want this to do is crack, stay in place so that the bits and pieces are still there so they can stop a second round. And at the same time, like I said, it's got to go through the steel. The steel will dent and push into the Kevlar, and hopefully that will, combination of all those things will stop. I thought about doing it like the way dragon skin, which is, one on top of the other, like layered at an angle. It's just too much fucking trouble. It's not, like I don't really see like too much benefit. As long as these things, when they get hit, push down and then push back up, which is what the titanium is going to be for. I'll probably put a layer of titanium, put 15 layers of Kevlar, the titanium, these stupid things facing this way, 5200, all that stuff together, more Kevlar, and then another titanium grade on top. I don't know how to arrange it yet. I still got to play with it in my head. But anyways, that's the soft armor. Let me give you the rundown on the... we're going into 13 minutes here. It's worth it. This is the hard armor. This is the plate armor. This is the armor that goes on top of this. So essentially what this is a titanium plate. This is, I think, 0.7 millimeters. So almost a millimeter of titanium. Then what I did was, the thing is, I've looked at videos online of bullets hitting that thickness titanium. It was a series of wallets made out of even thinner than this, and it stopped at 9 millimeter. The thing is that I noticed between steel and titanium, steel will bend and give. Like you get these perfect little concentric holes out of steel when it goes through it, or you get a dent in the back. So it kind of like stretches. Titanium doesn't stretch, at least not like steel does. When it fatigues, it looks more like aluminum. It cracks. So I thought, what if you combine those two attributes, the ability to bend and to crack at the same time? So what this is essentially is, the first layer is a titanium plate that is, basically it's a wrap. So I wrap the titanium with mild steel. So the idea would be, if a bullet hits, it will crack the titanium, but at the same time the steel will give and kind of capture it, the fragments or the break. Behind that, there's a layer of harder, like the grade I just showed you guys, that's 0.5 of a millimeter. The one that I have in here is 1 millimeter thick, so it's not as bendy. It's hard as shit. So then you have to go through the steel, the titanium, more steel underneath the titanium plate, and then you have a grade of titanium, another section of steel, and then this softer 0.5 millimeter titanium, and then all that is wrapped with steel. What I'd like to do is get if I had an arc welder. I don't have access to that shit, because it would be nice to kind of like use the steel, almost glue it in there in between the two slices of steel. But what I'm going to use is one of those aluminum welding rods from Harbor Freight, and just use that to brazen, I believe is the appropriate term. It's not welding, but just braze everything together so everything's mechanically connected to each other. And the graded titanium should, in theory, act almost like the new material that they made for tanks, which is called foamed steel. So I figure that it's kind of like the same principle as a foam steel, but it's foam titanium and reinforced by steel. And then with everything mechanically attached with that brazen, which is supposed to be equivalent to mild steel, I think that titanium will stick pretty good to that shit. It should be maybe about a quarter of an inch thick and should be able to take multiple rifle rounds. And it's not that heavy. I mean, it's heavy, but it's not that heavy. The steel is the heaviest part. But again, if you have an exoskeleton, you have the soft armor. Then you have the exoskeleton that attaches to the soft armor. Then the hard armor would kind of like flip in place and cover everything else. So it's kind of like a dual armored system. So that if you have to get out of the armor, that's the hard part. Because it's like, how the hell do you have like a just an ejection seat where you can just jump out? And yeah, that's, I don't know. I think that it's going to be like the Mark One, where the guy just bolted himself in place, and he needed somebody to, yeah, you'd have to do something like that. So I don't know how easy this thing's going to be to get on and off. Um, Again, the mosaic tile does look cool. I mean, I really wish I could put the armor like this. I mean, that does look fucking badass. Look at that. You got a guy walking to you like in a suit, just covered with this shit. You know, his head, everything. That's some fucking badass shit. So I wish I could do it like that, but everything that I know about mechanics and physics will tell me that the other way is better. You know, you want the tile to crack, and again, when it's surrounded with 5200, it should crack but stay in place, and then also be able to take other hits. So I don't know. That's a soft armor. The hard armor, it's doing it as I go. Um, it should look pretty good. I gotta just find something to strap it, because I thought about Velcro, but Velcro's shit. After a couple of times, you know, it starts to lose its stickiness. So I'd rather use something with a strap. And then the hard armor would be, again, physically attached to the exoskeleton, and everything would kind of fold over and cover the soft armor. But again, I don't know. Will rifles get through this? I don't know. Steel core? I don't know. No idea. So again, it would be nice to be able to test this ballistically. I'm going into 19 minutes. Shit. That's what happens when you do videos stoned. Anyways, that's my project. As you can see, again, the Kevlar does physically attach to each other with the 5200, and it's a second layer. It just takes forever. So we'll see if any of this shit works. I got to test it. Would be nice before I put my life in. But I have a strong feeling it would. I mean, 15 layers is enough to stop a 9 millimeter, and the mosaic tiles embedded in that with titanium and all the other shit that I'm putting on there should work. So anyways, that's what I've been up to on my time off. So anyways, peace.